Xiao Honglian, the leader, growled at them. Thanks to their brainwashing, they no longer feared death. Xiao Honglian then yelled that today she would eradicate this heretic sect. On the enemy's side, the priests had entered the battlefield while their troops were firing their guns in panic. The holy mutants used their powers and were able to withstand the bullets. The ammunition that hit their magical shields simply fell to the ground without giving any response. The priests questioned why the military bases were violating the peace agreement. This question made Xiao Honglian even angrier. She yelled for their leader to come out. After that, she said that they were the ones who first violated the peace agreement, so they had no right to complain. Xiao Honglian then drank something and spat out flaming fire towards them. One of the snow worship sect priests used his powers to move the cars in front of the fire explosion, successfully blocking the flames. However, the bodies around them turned to ashes, releasing a very pungent smell. The priest said that there must be some misunderstanding. They had always been neutral and never violated the agreement. Xiao Honglian didn't listen and ordered them all to be destroyed. The leader of the Chaoyu base then moved, and a massive explosion occurred in front of everyone. After that, the leader of the Chaoyu base appeared in the fog, and an ice shield formed around him, with rotating ice thorns surrounding him. With his abilities, he was able to move quickly while shooting ice projectiles towards the enemy. Meanwhile, the soldiers were firing their guns. The snow worship sect troops came with close-range weapons in their hands, having no chance at all against these people. However, those people were so crazy and desperate that they used the strategy of turning themselves into weapons and blowing themselves up in the middle of the enemy troops. They were so crazy that even though they were in a desperate position, they still managed to cause massive damage. Seeing this, Xiao Honglian started to feel worried. She then asked the leader of the other base to cooperate and defeat Zhang Yi. The woman then drank from a large bag and activated her purgatory forging transformation. Zhang Yi realized this and was shocked. Before he could react, the leader of the Chaoyu base appeared silently and grabbed his leg. In an instant, Xiao Honglian was by the girl's side and strongly punched her face, causing a massive explosion. This wasn't enough to defeat the girl from the snow worship sect. The new followers of the snow worship sect were shocked to see this happen. They immediately stood in front of the seriously injured girl, protecting her. Xiao Honglian had almost managed to defeat Zhang Yi. Meanwhile, as the battle intensified and dozens of lives were lost, Xiao Honglian yelled at everyone that her cousin and 10 of his important subordinates had been killed. Wing yelled that his loyal general, Wang Ruijuan, had died in the Shirshan base area. He said that throughout the city of Shanghai, the snow worship sect was the primary suspect in this matter. Therefore, both leaders yelled that Zhang Yi had to give an explanation, or everyone in the sect wouldn't survive until tonight. One of the snow worship sect soldiers felt angry about the situation. He decided to get rid of this arrogant person but failed. Xiao Honglian easily dodged him. Zhang Yi then approached his allies and said that they had nothing to do with this. The snow worship sect had never attacked any group until today. Wing wasn't convinced and emphasized that there was no one else in the city who could be responsible. Moreover, people from the 2 neighboring bases had been attacked and left no traces at all, so this had to be planned, and they were sure it wasn't the Qingpu base. After hearing all the arguments, Zhang Yi asked the 2 mutants if they had never thought that maybe there was another force in Tianhai City responsible for all this. They were the killers they had been searching for. The 2 leaders then wondered if the Shirshan base had been completely destroyed. Was it possible that they were hiding to slowly gather their strength and secretly hide? However, Xiao Honglian doubted this. She wondered that if they were indeed hiding, they would only slowly gather their strength and wouldn't dare to fight against them at the same time. Firmly, she said that even before the Shirshan base was destroyed, that place wouldn't dare to rebel against them. Zhang Yi replied that although the people from the Shirshan base had the courage, it didn't mean there was no other force. What if there was another force emerging now? This possibility caught Xiao Honglian's attention and explained the current situation. The 2 leaders decided to investigate the area further to confirm the accuracy of the information. Xiao Honglian finally decided to leave for the time being, but she reminded Zhang Yi not to forget about this. Therefore, they decided to part ways. Wing then said that the corpses and the wounded survivors there would be absorbed by their sect. Xiao Honglian agreed that the brainwashing made these people accept the reality that they became fuel for the sect. Wing wondered what the woman would do. He emphasized that if they worked together from now on, they could dominate the entire area that once belonged to the Shirshan base. Xiao Honglian didn't say anything and left just like that. The man acknowledged that the woman was very strong. The Weeding High followers believed that the woman was hiding something from them, but the man felt that it was natural. It wouldn't be easy to trust others. Wing was also worried about the news he had heard some time ago about a person named Zhang who had secretly stored the largest warehouse in the city before the global freeze. Then, Xiao Honglian was in her base, investigating the case with a soldier. Based on the information received, there were 2 places where the survivors lived. Her assistant suggested that they inform Weeding High and ask for help in sending someone, but the woman preferred not to inform them. Although it was unclear how strong the mysterious force was, by destroying the Shirshan base, they must have weakened. If the Shirshan base was indeed destroyed and they weren't as strong as they seemed, then they could take everything for themselves. Their leader told her assistant not to worry about Weeding High, who was just a sly old fox. They then gave orders to their spies to bring information from Zhang Yi's area. Meanwhile, at the Snow Worship Sect base, Ijuan was severely injured from the battle. The soldiers were very worried about the condition of their Snow Supreme leader, but the woman said that there was something more important to be done now. The scene on the battlefield was shocking. Their comrades who were severely injured and still alive were scattered everywhere. The sect followers could help treat the wounded, but in this cruel world, only a few people deserve treatment to continue fighting in future battles. A girl cried because she lost her comrade, but her tears weren't because of sadness, it was because of something else. She said that she gave advice to the man to have the right to meet his creator directly. Only those who died in battle for the sect obtained the right to meet God. The girl finally helped her friend walk away, saying that she couldn't wait to go too. Then, a soldier ordered them to bring the severely wounded to that place. The corpses were placed near a building, and after they left, something strange happened. Tentacles appeared and grasped the bodies, dragging them to a dark place inside the building. The pile of bodies was placed in a corridor and then hung from the ceiling in a cocoon-like state. Everyone was then placed there, and the atmosphere was filled with smoke. Fruits grew rapidly outside. The soldier prayed for their insane sect in the Snow Worship Sect Church. In the Snow Worship Sect Church, the supreme leader performed a purification ritual. The leader called the children. Their parents told them to believe in whatever the leader did. They had to be baptized to become the Snow Worship Sect servants. The baptism of the children was done by placing a hand on their faces and warning them not to be afraid and not to move. With this device, the leader did something with his powers. From now on, they would become obedient slaves. The children wouldn't get sick anymore. Their parents were very happy and thanked the Snow Supreme Leader's deputy. The woman said that from now on, their children would become sweeter and more obedient. They wouldn't cause any more trouble. Their friends were shocked to see the situation. No one wanted to be baptized like their friends. Unfortunately, the parents were the ones in control and wanted their children to be loyal to the snow god. To become obedient and pure, they had to undergo baptism and discard their emotions. The leader seemed delighted to do so and wondered who would be purified next. The mother was overjoyed to see her child's condition. They then thanked the leader for the cleansing they had done and left the place. After working hard, Yuan came to meet his master. The master was worried about his severely injured servant and hurried to heal him. After healing Yen, the Grand Leader asked if the information had been delivered. Yuan recounted everything they had discovered. A very powerful force had emerged and was related to the destruction of the Shirshan base. A mysterious man named Zhang Yi had apparently allied with an external force to attack the Shirshan base. Yuan also mentioned that the man was responsible for stealing the largest warehouse in the city before the global freeze. With a serious gaze, the Grand Leader stated that Zhang Yi's power was extremely high. How could he have withstood the Shirshan base for so long and even caused its destruction? Yuan tried to convince his leader that they had to send a team immediately to test Zhang Yi's strength and see if he was a friend or foe. Finally, the Grand Leader gave Ijuan permission to do as he pleased. He could send someone to test Zhang Yi's strength. Next, Jakir was analyzing the samples taken by Zhang Yi from his enemy soldiers. It was a type of medicine used on the battlefield. Its effectiveness was extremely high. The medicine could significantly enhance a person's bodily functions and also keep them awake for 3 days and 3 nights. However, the medicine only increased the body's energy consumption and accelerated its metabolism. In reality, this was a very dangerous type of medicine that could cause death if not used carefully. Indeed, in this world, nothing was free. Zhang asked Zier if he remembered the type of poison he used on the rats back then. How much of the medicine's effects could damage the body? Zier replied that if a small amount of antibodies were present in the body, it could neutralize the substance, but if it exceeded 5% of the dosage, the body would experience extremely strong side effects. In the current climate, the result would be slow death from poisoning. Zhaokir didn't know that there were rats in the house. Why did he ask about it? Zhang only replied that the rats had already left the house. Then, we were shown the rats' base. A group of students were warming themselves up by the fire. The useless group began to think that it was better when they were slaves. They had to peddle goods all day, but they didn't feel cold, and there was always delicious yogurt. The only person who seemed to think sensibly was Xiao Tian. He said that if everyone went through the experiment he did, they wouldn't have any problems. Some girls apologized and asked why Guru Lien was angry with them. One of the boys said that now Lien belonged to Zhang Yi, maybe Guru Lien had exchanged his body for food. Unfortunately for Xiao Tian, he had to listen to his friends talk badly about his ignorant teacher. They stopped talking when they realized that Guru Lien had come to visit them. Lien said that recently, the area hadn't been very safe, so besides searching for food, it was better to hide and be cautious. The students became frightened and asked for permission to leave. They planned to hide in Zhang Yi's house if the situation was that dangerous. Having grown accustomed to these people, Lien didn't respond, only telling them to take care and be cautious. Finally, he treated them as he should. The students ate the food brought by Lien voraciously, as if it was their last meal. Some people approached the village. The only one who noticed was Xiao Tian. However, before he could realize what was happening, someone had grabbed his neck and ordered him to be quiet. Xiao Tian didn't have the strength to break free, but he managed to kick the person, making him retreat. The man felt strange about the strength the child possessed, and before Tian could escape, the man blocked his way. Tian tried to attack to escape, but with just one punch, he was knocked out, and everything inside him was crushed. With that punch, the strongest person in the student group was defeated. Several hours ago, the enemy base group arrived in the area using a vehicle and decided to explore on foot. They then saw the walls of Zhang Yi's fortress. With that, the soldier realized that the people who could build this must be capable of defeating the very powerful Shirshan base. The man with the shining head ordered them to be cautious. This enemy wasn't easy to defeat. They then headed towards the nearest village, which was their destination. After following the satellite radio signal from the missing soldier, they were cautious.